Also, I wanted to talk about my birth plan this week. So this video is going to be a bit longer than the others, even though sometimes they can ramble on, I know. So I wanted to actually talk in detail about our plan so that you know what sort of birth we want, and you can kind of get a clue if you're interested in the way I've approached pregnancy about a way you could kind of format your birth plan. And of course, you always can find natural childbirth, birth plan, and kind of copy paste, and that's the best way to go because sometimes you can't think of everything and it's hard. So I have it on my phone here. I'm gonna zoom in a bit so that I can see it because I sent the PDF to my birth team so they know, so they have it all. So we did like a little intro with my name, my estimated due date at the top, and we're real excited because we really are, and thank you. This is our goal to do it very naturally, completely naturally, unless there's an emergency, and we know you're going to honor that, but just a reminder, and we're at a birth center, so it's different than at a hospital. At a hospital, you're going to have to put that down in a lot more places because that isn't the norm at a hospital. At a birth center, it is. So that's one thing. And we wrote kind of two different versions I mentioned last week. That's an at the birth center version, if all goes according to plan, or pretty much according to plan without emergency, and then at the hospital version that includes at the hospital vaginally, at the hospital C-section, and I talked about how that was really emotionally hard to write. So I have during labor, there's a couple different subcategories I have. So there's like a comfort measures and an atmosphere at the birth center during labor. I want to have Jason with me at all times, and I want to have my friends who are my doulas, my support team that are going to come and be there. I want to have access to them at all times. A lot of this is redundant for the midwives because they are totally fine with that. There's no problem. They're like, you can have 20 people in the room if you want. And a lot of the medical stuff is redundant too. It's just reiterating just in case. Like a lot of the stuff that I say I don't want, they don't even do as protocol unless you say I want this, and then they say, okay, sure. So I want to be able to listen to music, photograph and film if I would like to. Dim the lights, all that stuff, but we can totally do that. Change the temperature of the room, have a birth tub, get in and out if I want to, use a birth ball, do massage, go walk around outside, walk around in the halls, wear clothes, wear no clothes, wear my own clothes, get in their shower, sit on the toilet, all these things that are already just the way they allow things to be. And I would this is a big one for me, is I would like to push it instinctively. And gently, as opposed to in a lot of films and in a lot of realities you see, okay, push, it's time. Like, a woman's body doesn't need to know when to push unless there is a huge emergency and the baby needs to get out. I would like to push gently, even if I feel the urge, because that's going to help my body stretch, my perineum stretch. There's going to be less likely that I would tear. And when I'm crowning, if for some reason I can't process that I'm crowning, I would like to be told, hey, the baby is crowning, so that I can slow down, try to breathe through a couple contractions and not push for them so that my body can stretch out and the baby's head can come out without tearing. Because that could totally happen. You just have to, work for it. Also, I'm not interested in having a baby in the water. I might be in the birth pool laboring in the water, but I personally do not want to birth the baby in the water. I like them to come out in air. If we're in the water, and I wrote this down, I would like, and the midwife can tell that birth is imminent, but somehow I can't tell. I would like them to say, oh, hey, now might be a good time to get out, because we don't want you getting out as you're crowning, move to the bed or something like that. I would also like to have warm cloths applied to my perineum by my birth team, my husband, warm water with maybe some coconut oil or something like that as I'm crowning, to help me stretch, which moisturize the region, and also put counter pressure is going to help me stretch and not tear. If you kind of push a little bit of pressure on the baby's head, it holds it in a little, not pushing it in, but keeping it there, And then as far as the medical interventions and procedures go, we said that we consented to the Doppler handheld ultrasound device during labor. We haven't used that at all during pregnancy, but they cannot tell the baby's heart rate with the fetoscope. It's too complicated during labor. So we're consenting to the Doppler. And my concern about that was more developmental also when the baby was developing, and less so at the later stages because the baby's developed now. And I think monitoring the baby's heart rate during labor is important, as most medical care providers think is important too. I also want to be able to use a breast pump or like natural means to restart labor if it stalls, as opposed to thinking, oh no, I need to have Pitocin or medication now. I don't want my membrane stripped or my water broken artificially. And this is all if there's no emergency. If there's an emergency, it's a different story. I would like Jason to catch the baby or to be the first one hands-on handling the baby unless the midwife needs to catch the baby. And I would like Jason to be able to announce the sex of the baby because we don't know. So have him, even if my other birth team members see or I see, I would like him to be able to be the first one to verbalize it and say, it's a boy or it's a girl, you know. And then after birth, the baby immediately on my chest, skin to skin, without being dried off or anything like that. Wait till the umbilical cord stops pulsing, which is their normal protocol at the birth center anyway, before being cut. Like Jason to be able to cut it. No tests or procedures or measurements happening for at least an hour or 2 hours after the baby's born, except the APGAR exam. They can do that when your baby's in your arms. No bathing the baby. No antibiotic eye ointment. I have no venereal diseases, so there's no need, which is one of the reasons why they say you need to do that. I don't have any of those, so we don't need to do that. And no shots or anything like that. We're going to do oral vitamin K as opposed to the shot version of vitamin K. And if for some reason there's an emergency and the baby has to get taken to the hospital without me, Jason will go. The baby stays with Jason at all times. And I want my body to deliver the placenta naturally as opposed to with a Pitocin shot helping along or anything like that, which isn't even something they offer at the birth center unless it's kind of an emergency. And then I wrote a little section too that's about me, what I know about myself as far as how I cope with pain and stress and things like that, and the way Jason and I kind of work as a team. And that's a really good idea to include in a birth plan and discuss with your care provider so that they know. Like, you know, and you might not act that way, you might act differently, but it's good for them to at least have a clue how you may or may not be, you know. And then all that similar stuff we had at the hospital during labor, but different stuff in case of emergency, but still none of that extra stuff done to my baby, or all the ability to move around, have the lights, unless it's a super emergency and I'm in the C-section room, you know. Be able to eat and drink during labor, all those extra things. And if you really would like to see a more comprehensive birth plan of ours, I can send it to you if you want to email, which is ourbirthway@gmail.com, which is the email for my doula company. And in case of a C-section, which is, if we're in the hospital, it's probably more likely that that's why we're there. Is Jason, I want to be there at all times. I want to be conscious if possible. I would like to do something called vaginal seeding, where you put a sterile gauze pad in your vagina and you're able to wipe it on the baby, which colonizes your baby with the microbiome that they should be colonized with, because they were expecting to come through the birth canal, but they missed that. Otherwise, they might get colonized with random floating bacteria in a hospital, which is not good bacteria in most cases. I would like to be able to have my hand unhooked or have a hand unhooked to touch the baby, one or both hands afterwards. I'd like the screen to be lowered during the surgery, right at the end as the baby's emerging, or have one of those clear screens so that I can see the baby come out of my body, or at least be raised in the air. I would like, if possible, unless they need to monitor the baby for like 1 or 2 minutes, the baby to come straight to me and be with me, and maybe even we'll try to latch and do breastfeeding. And if the baby has to be rushed off, Jason should go, or Jason will go. And I'd like to, if I was in a hospital, be in a private room, have rooming in with my baby, have the baby be only breastfed, not offered formula or sugar water if it was in the NICU for some reason. Stay there as short as possible, not offer the baby any pacifiers or anything either. We would like to take home our placenta, which is the norm at the birth center. Things like that. So this is the gist. I don't want to go over every single thing, but I pretty much went over most of it. So if you have more questions, let me know. But that's the state of our birth plan. The midwives are totally on board. They've seen this kind of birth plan many times. The only thing that was sort of new for them was the fact that I actively do not want to birth in the water, because they, as well as most women, think, well, just wherever the baby comes is fine. But I actively do not want to, and so that's something that they're going to have to remember, and hey, remind me if I forget. I'm not trying to push you into doing it in the water, but just remind me. Oh, she wants to be out of the water. Oh yes, definitely. Let's do it. Let's help get her out now. because that's not, a lot of women that labor in the water, most women that labor in the water are comfortable also birthing in the water, or at least emotionally comfortable. So anyway, that's where we are now, and things are totally better. Things are more relaxed. I'm feeling so much better. It's fantastic. And I'm excited for what this week will bring. This week could bring a baby. I could be talking to you next week. Instead of at 39 weeks pregnant, I could be filming, a beginning of labor video telling you that labor has started. I don't know. That could happen a month from now. There's such a wide range. You don't really know. It's pretty exciting now. And I still continue to feel that this part of the pregnancy is the most exciting part, and I like it the best because it's the wildest and the craziest and the most bizarre. It's almost like falling in love in a whirlwind, when you fall in love in a whirlwind, and especially the way Jason and I fell in love in Peru, in another country. There was no time left. We didn't know each other. What do? Do we extend our trip and stay and learn about each other, or do we just go on with our lives? Kind of like, let's just jump off the cliff together. Let's do it. That's what it feels like right now, kind of. So it's really exciting. So that of course made me teary because I've been an emotional person. Anyway, thanks so much for watching. This one was really lengthy. Hopefully I didn't bore you. Hopefully I gave you some great ideas for your birth plan if you're thinking about going a similar direction that Jason and I have gone. And I'll see you next week for either the 39 weeks pregnant update or a, hey, we're in labor, this is what it's like, update. So thanks again, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.